I've been associated for quite a while, but I got more formally associated when I was Secretary, Department of Science and Technology, and I'd gone in. I got a telephone call from Rajiv Gandhi, the Prime Minister. तो उन्होंने कॉल किया, उन्हें कहलवाया कि he would like me to be the chairman of the University Grants Commission. मैंने कहा एक सबको एक करिए. कहते हाँ प्रिसाइजली. तो मैं कहा अगर एक करने का अनाउंसमेंट कर देंगे तो मैं आके यूजीसी ज्वाइन कर लूँगा और इसका इंतज़ाम हो जाए. तो ही वॉज वेरी प्रॉम्प्ट. तो फिर मैं यूजीसी ज्वाइन किया. पर मैंने जब यूजीसी ज्वाइन कर लिया तो इसमें मैं कुछ नहीं कर सकता था क्योंकि और बहुत सारी एजेंसीज इन्वॉल्व थी. तो उसके लिए रिपोर्ट बनाई उन्होंने कैसे हो क्या नहीं हो. तो मैं तो यूजीसी में बहुत एकदम से काफ़ी गहराई से लग गया. तो मेरी कोशिश के बाद ये रही कि इसको रेट्रोफिट किया जाए. तो रेट्रोफिट का मतलब है कि मैंने बहुत कोशिश की इंटर यूनिवर्सिटी सेंटर बनाने की. सो मेरा इरादा ये था कि इस तरह से करेंगे तो धीरे धीरे जाके उस साइड में आएंगे जिसमें एक साथ काम करने लगेंगे. और फिर 5 साल यूजीसी ख़त्म हुए. इरादा इसी तरह था. फिर और बहुत सारे एकेडमिक स्टाफ कॉलेजेस 50-60 बनाए. कैसे इस तरह से काम किया. फिर एक और मुहिम थी मेरी कि मैं जाने वाला हूँ, ये नई चीज़ें शुरू की हैं चलती रहें तो अच्छा सा चेयरमैन आ जाए. और मुझे ध्यान में आया कि मनमोहन सिंह जी बहुत उम्दा यूजीसी चेयरमैन होंगे. तो मैं मनमोहन सिंह जी से जाके मिला, उनको परसुएड किया, मना लिया, वो माने. तो फिर मैंने चंद्रशेखर से कहा कि मनमोहन सिंह जी मान गए हैं. उनके इकोनॉमिक एडवाइजर थे और मनमोहन सिंह जी को यूजीसी चेयरमैन बना दिया गया. फिर गवर्नमेंट बदली, नरसिम्हा राव आए तो वो तो कुछ महीनों के बाद चले गए वो. एंड द होल वर्ल्ड चेंज. सो दैट हैज़ बीन द एफर्ट टू ट्राई टू मेक इट something like this. Now, afterwards, my involvement with education, with school education, learning without burden, and national curriculum framework for schools and so on has continued. And my involvement with various agencies, space, atomic energy, DST, and so on has continued. And then came this, that the committee was set up to advise on renovation and rejuvenation of higher education. And so we said that there should be a single commission, not AICT separate and medical separate and ordinary education, because this doesn't allow people to work properly across. Unless you move across disciplines, then you can't do new things. Creativity can't come. And essentially this is the nature of this particular report. Firstly, do not think that any commission you set up, they are not the controllers. The real initiative lies with the universities. And the university should be given ultimate freedom. Some resources to be provided, and the resources can be monitored like these days in electronics days, for example, mutual funds and so on, automatically put some money in the university, and then after the year find out what's been spent on. And do not every day inspect and do all kinds of things. Universities should have a different freedom system. Then in the universities itself, we very strongly recommended, I don't know whether they'll say, that institutes, single discipline institutes are not universities. They can't be universities. All over the world also, the great institutions start as in one subject, but then they expand and include all the subjects. Massachusetts Institute of Technology, for example, was a technical school and then became a great university. The name is the same, it became a fantastic university. And many other examples around the world, and that's the direction we need to go. And we recommended that.
You said universities should be given autonomous status. So do you think that if universities be given autonomous status, it will bring in research and innovation in higher education institutions in India?
That was precisely the reason, that unless you have autonomy of this kind, and you are free to find collaborations with other universities, with other laboratories, easily, rather than wait for agreement from a secretary or from a deputy secretary or even lower somewhere, that they have no right. Universities can do, resources are required, and the commission which is set up should be of a kind which takes a broad view. It's if you are working with them and and the program project looks fine, go ahead and do it.
Many of the experts also feel that 80% of our graduates are unemployable. What are the reasons according to you, those who come out?
Well, firstly, I think this business of unemployability, it comes from industry many times. And this is mainly because industry is not research oriented. Industry, a lot of our industry is based on something which somebody else is doing abroad, and you begin to do it again. And you copy. If you copy something, then you need people who are trained rather than educated. And to that extent it's true that our graduate institution, in the institution, educational institution, you don't get training. You may be able to sit and do work. So partly it is wrong. I mean, all the people who have done our space program, our atomic energy program, would have been considered unemployable when they were recruited. But they were the one, they learned the things, and when they got into the institutions. But it's also true that education is not being done well, because it became a business, and so it has also affected the way it is done in ordinary, normal government institutions, particularly because the institutions got interfered with a lot by bureaucracy, and secondly, they didn't have enough resources. A change is happening. Resources are more available in greater amount now in various institutions from the government. And I see the change very visibly in various universities and technical departments and so on. I don't see it yet in a large number of private institutions which have come up, engineering institutions, management institutions. तो वो तो नाम के वास्ते हैं. Their front office is very fancy. There's a lot of marble and glass. There's a lot of visibility. But there's not proper equipment, and they don't have enough teachers. Now, why we don't have enough teachers is because of another failing. For example, take IITs. IITs are pretty good institutions, but their primary focus was to train undergraduate engineers. Undergraduate engineers for whom there was a lot of opportunities available abroad. They didn't train enough research engineers of high quality. So they didn't prepare teachers of teachers. So we haven't produced enough teachers of teachers who can train ordinary people and who will then go to all these colleges. And so I don't blame them because people are not available. BTechs are teaching BTechs. I mean, that is not a good way of creating creative new institutions. But this has been recognized, and we pointed this out very strongly, that the research has to go. We even went to the extent of saying that our IITs and others should become universities, and that research aspect has to be increased. And research not only in a single discipline, but many other disciplines, because many people working in many disciplines together really make new things, not working in a single discipline. Very seldom.
But sir, don't you think that if IITs and IIMs be encouraged to diversify and expand their scope to work as full-fledged universities, it will dilute their focus from what they are?
It doesn't. I mean, so if you put other disciplines, if you put other disciplines in institutes of technology and also institutes of management, both management and technology will gain. You will develop new type of technologies. New technology develop out of new science and technology working together. And if you want new means really new, not something you think already exists. I think unless we start doing some things which don't exist anywhere, we are not there yet. And that focus somehow is not here. In between, what happened was, even in industry and among some bureaucrats, bringing in technology was considered the same as creating technology. People forgot the difference. Creating technology is very different from bringing in technology. By bringing in technology, you can copy what others have done. By creating technology, you can do something which nobody has so far done. And we have a lot of thing to do in that particular direction. So my main emphasis here always has been in this report that we have to create research universities, and research means do things which nobody's done so far. And if you don't do enough of those, then you can't really educate people who will be such that who will innovate.
So, sir, in your report, you suggested the setting up of Commission for Higher Education and Research. So, do you think it will work as an independent organization, or it will fall in line with what we have like?
Look, my proposal was that the National Commission for Higher Education and Research should be a constitutional body. It should be like the Election Commission, which is not under any government department, not in the center, not in the states. Okay? So there are less bureaucrats who can interfere, there are less politicians who can interfere, none actually. And if you move in that direction, then there is a possibility, and add to that the following, that the first requirement is that universities are self-regulating bodies, that universities are the places where real academics reside. The commission is only for coordination and for helping and as a catalyst, not as a czar. This is the important statement I made, that this commission will not be a czar, it will be a catalyst.
So you also suggested in your report that is for scrapping higher education regulatory bodies like UGC, AICT. So what was the thought process?
Well, how do you create a new one unless you scrap the old ones? And the old ones we said should be subsumed. Subsumed means the people are subsumed, human beings, but it takes a new birth. And even medical, all those things. It was, see, I was myself a chairman UGC, I know what its strength is, what it could do, and there are a lot of good things it has done, and all the same, delays of all kinds which occur all the time. People don't realize how, what kind of trouble delays can cause. If you want to do a project, if you want to start a course, and it takes you 2 or 3 years to do it, by that time you lose your enthusiasm. People should be able to start doing things. You don't do research, don't do new things. If you get an idea today, tomorrow you should be able to call somebody, "Arey yaar, we have to do it together. Let's find out, meet if we can get resources for this," and start. That's how research is done.
So still a lot of fund is given to universities,
yes,
for research.